Ho, 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 ho. Happy Friday night, everybody. Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. Did you sense that I was having a problem? Holy mackerel. Oh my gosh. Good thing you're there. Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. Happy Friday night. Happy cocktail night. Happy gallery night. You'll never guess what I just did. I mean, there is something so wrong with me. It's beyond it's not just technical. It's beyond. I was trying to plug in my camera. That is the only way that you can see me. And I was holding up the wrong plug, a plug to nothing that had like a damaged hole. And I was forcing it into the computer. And the computer was like wheezing and crying and begging me to stop. And it camera didn't come on. And I realized I had the wrong cord. Whew. I promise you this, like, listen, I'm opening it now. So it's not that, it's this. Happy Friday night. Welcome back. I am so glad you're there. This is such an important night of the month for us when we do our gallery night. I was freaking out that we were not going to have it, but here we are. We are here, and it is maybe the best gallery night yet. Always such a great quality of work, and such great ideas. But beyond that, lots of different things in different areas tonight. I feel like it's a real mixed bag tonight. So I'm so glad you're there. I'm so glad it worked. I'm so glad I figured out that I just I must have had like some kind of a secret lobotomy at some point in my life because nothing is working. Andrea, you are up late, aren't you? I have your beautiful piece in the show, though. I should have put it up first, shouldn't I have? I wasn't thinking this afternoon either. Happy Friday night, Andrea. It is. Oh, actually, it's Saturday morning, isn't it? Happy Saturday morning in the UK. Cold and frosty midnight there. Hubby just gone to bed. You've already had a couple glasses of wine. That's a good start, right? So I may be. Oh, I'll try to get yours quick because I don't want to keep you up for too long. I know it's late. Ryan, great to see you. Friday from North Texas, and I've got a beautiful. Oh no, I don't have your. I have Ryan LeBeau's pieces. Beautiful, relaxing night with your wine and your jigsaw puzzle. I know that you love your wine and you love your jigsaw puzzle. I have figured that out about you. That sounds so nice. Can't wait to see everyone's awesome work. It is truly an awesome night tonight. Melanie, great to see you. Hello from the cool and sunny Northwest Washington State. Yeah, it's cooling off again. Here we go. Candace, good evening. Great to see you. I've got your piece coming up and I've got some stuff to show you. I'll show everybody at the same time. And Melanie says, I'm just starting in on a large glass of wine. It's been one of those days. I'm sorry it's been one of those days, but at the same time, I'm very happy that it's over. Well, that part of it is over, the those days part. Now we are on to the happy part for sure, and I'm glad that we're together. Robin, great to see you. Cheers, Madeiras in Wisconsin. Happy belated birthday to your son. I was very happy I didn't miss your birthday. Those were beautiful pictures. I'm going to do a cheers myself. Sorry for the slurp. I needed it after that. I was using a fork. I think that was beer. I was using a fork to fix a computer part. And you know how they say never stick something metal in something that's plugged in? Well, first of all, nothing happened. And secondly, I was panicked. I wasn't thinking. My brain was overriding all of those rules. I'm drinking a beer tonight, a stout. I don't know if I should say the name of it because I don't know if that's like inappropriate or offensive, but it is one of my favorite beers. It's actually a porter, chocolate peanut butter porter, and it's very strong on the peanut butter part, which is fantastic. I'm washing down a peanut butter and Marmite sandwich, so it's a big peanut butter night here in Connecticut. Ryan, it was very nice and sunny today. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Wait a minute. Okay, so I know one of the Ryan, Texas. I have your thing tonight, right? Don't I have your thing tonight? The house, not to give it away or anything. I remember there's a last name thing. Now I'm getting it because I was getting so confused. Priscilla, great to see you. Cheers, Medeiros in Ohio. Great to see you. Eugenia, great to see you. Hello in Northwest Arkansas. It's cool there too. You're cooking chili for dinner. Perfect winter meal, isn't it? I can't wait to see everyone's work. Linda H., good to see you in Massachusetts. Cheers, Medeiros. Mm. I'm sorry for the slurping. I'm really a little bit worked up still. I'll mellow out in a minute. Mom, great to see you. I miss you. Great to see you. And I was just gonna say something about our Celtic class, but I'll do that in just a minute. Karen, great to see you. Cheers, Medeiros, in snowy and cold Black Forest, Colorado. Got the bourbon in hand. That's your favorite, isn't it? And a fire in the fireplace. That is the essence of winter, isn't it? That is the postcard. Whitney, great to see you. Happy Friday to you too. Doreen, happy Friday. Cheers, my dears. Oops, wait a minute. I'm hiding from my rug. I saved the worst sections for last. Yeah. Well, I think that's a good call, right? Sometimes avoiding our problems is not the right way, but I think with rugs, it is the right way. I think that's absolutely right. Gayla, great to see you in cold Missouri. Happy Friday. Linda Ann, happy Friday. I know it's cold where you are. I absolutely know. Crystal, cold up there, huh? Great to see you. Happy Friday night in Halifax. Love seeing everyone's work. Me too. Oh, you're staying up to support everyone. Andrea, you are so great. You are so great. Barbara, yay for happy hour. That's right. Happy Friday. Great to see you. Joy, cheers, my dears in Florida. Great to see you. Claire, hello from Quebec. Happy Friday Eve. Great to see you. I'm going to have one more sip and then I've got a bunch of things to tell you quick before we launch into a really exciting show tonight. Friday night for me too here. So we started. These are independent classes, but on Wednesday we did the first designing like the Book of Kells class. I had so much fun running it. Had too much content as usual. I live in fear of not having enough, so I always have too much. But I figure you can always dive into it later. Lots of fun, lots of not work, which is difficult, I know, but it's possible to do it step by step. It was a challenging. It was the most challenging class so far for the design likes, I think. But I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed the subject. I love Ireland and all things Irish, and was a lot of fun. So if you missed that and you would like to take that, that's coming up again on this coming Sunday. So that is there for you. A lot of fun, and that will be the last time that class runs in person. So it's a good one to get into live in case you have questions, because as you can imagine, I associate, and I'm sure you associate, Celtic, like ornamental Celtic work, design work, as being quite filigree, a little bit fussy, and more complicated than the average style, right? And it is, but we worked through it bit by bit, and it was lots of fun. It was lots of fun. What else did I want to say? I'm thinking about next Friday, and the reason I'm thinking about next Friday is because I found out that this great rug exhibit was on. It's not rug hooking. It's rug felting, and it's happening at this place called Bombyx, Bombyx, in Florence, Massachusetts, which is right near where I was yesterday. And it's a beautiful, it's a really unique space. It's a beautiful kind of I want to say church space, but it's got a big proscenium, a stage, and several denominations share this as a worship space. And when it is not being used that way, it's used for concerts and other events. Oh, good, I'm plugged in. And I'm seeing Rufus Wainwright there in May. That's one of the things that's coming up. He's one of my favorite musicians. But right now, starting in December, I didn't know, but there has been this rug show. I think it's one large rug that was felted and recorded. The whole process was recorded. Um, I think the woman's name, who's like the name behind it, is I think Joe Heller, something like that. You can look it up on Bombyx. But I think she's German, but I think she learned rug making in Turkey. So it's like a kind of fusion of methods. So I'm real curious to see the exhibit. I'm not sure how many rugs are there. And it ends on next Friday night with an auction that benefits charity, like a food pantry kind of a thing. And it was a community project. So I'll tell you more about that on Monday. I think I probably will try to do that. And if so, then I would be running next week's cocktail night on Sunday night so that we don't miss out. But I am thinking about that because I hate to miss rug exhibits, and I want to bring as many things to you in person as I can. So that would be a very exciting thing to be able to document, you know. Also remember, on Wednesday in New Canaan, Connecticut, if you are near me at all, I'm going to be there to give a talk on the history of hooked drugs, the romance of hooked drugs. And I don't know if I showed you, Jacob finished this pattern. He'll probably stop in later. He's going to be here in about an hour when he finishes up at his other place. And he did this cropped version of the flower vase that is unique to the house at the historic house at the New Canaan Historical Society. He cropped it this way. So we're going to be doing this pattern. I think there's 10 people signed up for now, so that means there's only a couple more spaces if you're interested. But after the talk, the kit is separate, and I do like a teaching thing there. So that's coming up on Wednesday. Next Friday is more than likely I'm going to be at the rug show, documenting that and bringing that to you. And then the Saturday, the following day, is the thing in Hartford. The Van Gogh exhibit and a talk there. So lots happening. That's at the Hartford Public Library. So lots happening in this immediate area, and that's why I've been running around like a goose. That's a nice word for it, right? Dave, great to see you. Chocolate and hard cider. Cheers, my dears. That sounds amazing. Barbara's going to drink to the Irish. I think I will too, but I will do it conservatively, right? I'm not that Irish. More French Canadian. I don't know if that helps that much in that department, right? Wendy, great to see you. I love the piece that you put in as usual. Great pieces today. Had to finish playing upwards. Oh, the Scrabble, but where you put the tiles on top of other tiles. I think that's upwards. That is super, super, super fun. I love Super Scrabble. Is there a Super Upwards? Because I feel like the traditional Scrabble game doesn't last long enough. I might be one of the only people who feels like that, but I like a good long game, a fight to the death. When I win, as I usually do when I'm playing against my sister, she's that's not true, and she's very hard to beat. But we like a good long bitter battle, you know. Mm. Thank you, Mom. Yeah, it was a great class. It was a lot of fun. I'm curious to see what designs come out of it because we put a lot of sort of bestiary out there, lots of people stuff, lots of face stuff, like just bits and pieces of everything, including the knots. But they were easy knots to do, I promise. Oh, that's right, Doreen, you were on the class too. I hope that you got some good designs out of there. I was reading your chats in the chat window. I love it. It was fun. So let's move forward. I'm trying to think about if there's anything else. If there is, I will remind myself later. Let's get going with content. This is one of our favorite nights of the month, right? One of our favorite shows of the month. Sean Jess, Kia Ora from New Zealand. Great to see you. I'm so glad that you're on live. Great to see you. Happy Saturday morning, right? Welcome to Gallery Night. So many interesting things came in this time for Gallery Night, as they always do. I do want to pass on one more bit of business, not from myself, but from Donna at Whispering Hill, which is in the quiet corner of Connecticut on the Rhode Island border, Woodstock, Connecticut. She said, please pass this on to your group. On February 4th at Whispering Hill, which is her epically gorgeous Aladdin's Cave of a store, it's a rug hooking store in Woodstock, Connecticut, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Join us for chocolate and flowers, 10% off on books, and 10% off bolt wool. So wool that's on the bolt. So not already pre-cut wool. That was sent to me from Donna Swanson at Whispering Hill. So if you want to go, I would definitely look up Whispering Hill, right? Like on the computer and call her on the phone and say, I would like to go. Because 10% off is great and it sounds like a great event. So don't miss that if you are local. I got an email. Oh, Super Scrabble's great, Karen. It's much, much bigger, and there's more value spots. It is for someone who wants to play for like 5 hours. All right, so I got an interesting email this morning, and I am going to recruit help, right? I'm asking you for your help with a mystery rug. So I got this great email from Pat Laska, and she was sort of referred to me by a friend. And as you could tell by the intro, I am exquisitely busy, painfully busy right now this week. So I didn't have a lot of extra time to do detective dog work. And I wonder if anybody recognizes this pattern. She wrote, hi, Deanna. My friend said that you might be able to tell me who designed this rug. A hooker has donated it to a local auction, and we would like to attribute the design correctly. Thanks in advance for any information you may have. She thinks the pattern is at least 10 years old. So I didn't immediately recognize it, and I'm not gonna say anything because I want you to chime in. If you were to guess, like it's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, right? It's timed. You got no more lifelines. Who would you guess designed this rug? What company? I don't know the answer. I have a guess, but I don't want to kind of like influence you. I'm curious to know what you would think. I wrote right back to her and I said, Pat, I think, I don't know if you meant to write 10, but I'm thinking 100 years old because for me, this is like hands down an Art Deco era rug. So we're looking not at 10, but definitely 100. And I have an idea of who this looks the most to me like. Judy says, are those pomegranates? I don't think so. I don't know. You know, now Judy, you're making me wonder because it looks like top to bottom, those could be the seeds, doesn't it? I don't know. Um, I'll tell you, and again, I don't know the answer to this question, but this rug was found in New Hampshire. Because I was thinking that could influence, right? That could certainly influence the likelihood of it being a specific company. I'm going to go ahead and say, I mean, this strikes me as many rugs do because of the giant catalog, because of the huge presence, and because of the Deco era prolific designs Garrett Bluenose. For me. And then I thought for a minute, it could still be Louise Zeiser, but I don't think so. I don't know. And if anybody knows, or if you're half listening to me, and definitely Art Deco, right, Karen? And you happen to find out, please put it in the thread because I would love to get back to Pat with something more than a hunch. But it is a lovely old rug with a beautiful textured background. I am wondering about the pomegranates now. It struck me initially as like a butterfly, and then I thought, no, not a butterfly. It's these wacky geometrics in my mind that are really, for me, synonymous with either Riddermere or Garrett Bluenose. But I don't recognize it from Riddermere, and Riddermere has a much smaller catalog, all in all. I recently got the Garrett Bluenose book, like the hard copy, so let's cover that on like Wednesday this coming week on Coffee Time, or at least begin to cover it because it is like an epically huge book with so many patterns. We won't do spoiler alert and look at all of them, but this could well be one of them. I'm curious to know what you might be thinking, so go ahead and chime in if you have thoughts. Even if it's wrong, at least it's more sort of fodder for us to kind of churn over. Stephanie wrote and said, Stephanie Stark wrote and said, Deanna mentioned at the last gallery night that she'd like to briefly look at and mention the addition of felting into a rug. Absolutely, I would. I always do. I always want to include references and examples of different kinds of rug making, whether it's a fusion of hooking, punching, and like one of the forms that we talk about less, one of the forms that's done with a different instrument. I always want to talk about that. Oh, Barbara says I collect Balik from Ireland. Oh, Balik is so, so beautiful. It was, Karen, almost stained glass looking. It was. I think that's like universally deco. Most deco, at least the line drawings, look so stained glassy, so Tiffany. And I guess that's coming out of the Victorian period, right? And all of that oversaturation of glass in public places and at home, right? Um, so I do want to look at felting. And Stephanie says the lamplight was the first needle felted, then wet Nuno felted, and that's Nuno. I don't know that word. After that, both punch needle and rug hooking were done. Okay, so first she needle felted the lamplight part, right? And that needle felting is a different rug making process that we often talk about. It can be done. It can be done wet or dry. Wet often makes a very thick material that is more commonly used as the background or the foundation cloth if you're doing more felting onto it. But dry felting is like wisps of roving that look like cotton candy that using one or more felting needles you attach to your backing, and it works great in with rug hooking as part of a combo too. And this is a great example of that. And Stephanie goes on to say, on the corresponding felted piece, punch needle was used to create the pine trees. So so over on the right, I think I have more close-ups of this. You see there are like, that's very pretty, like a crop with quilly. Let me make sure that I have close-ups of this because I want to look at this in much more detail. And she says, the rug exchange piece I made had needle felted flower centers. Ooh, oh, that sounds very good. I have also, on all my wool rug projects, saved even the small cut off yarn tips to play in felting with. And that's a bit of foreshadowing because I peeled an entry by Steph and a friend off of our rug. Sorry, I'm struggling with words tonight. I'm telling you, that plug thing got me bad. On our Facebook page, which is Rug Cooking and Punch Needle Club, there was a later post that Steph was involved in that included little wool snippies, and you're going to see how those are used a little bit later in the show. For this moment, I want to stay here for just a moment and look at some more examples of this piece, some close-ups, because there are other things I want to remark on. I just want to finish the email. Another thing I like to do is use my felting needle on places in the back of my rugs that I want tacked down a wee bit more. That is interesting, that I want tacked down a wee bit more. That is interesting. Not sure if that makes sense. It is making sense, Steph, definitely. I gently poke at those areas lightly. I find this to be useful, especially when using, say, roving. So not just on the front, but on the back she's doing it. That's interesting. I'm new at all this, and I simply do what I think might work for me. I believe in the fairies of the universe or the collective consciousness streaming to all of us. So as I do most things, especially creative pursuits, I find I get inspired as to what to do. I, of course, see and hear more from others along my path as I go. And then she says, if there's a ton of stuff on gallery night, feel free to skip. As if, never, never. So I like that idea. I like what she's saying about the um, feeling your way as you go. That really is a great way to operate in life as well as rug making, isn't it? So the lamplight on the left, I want to look at this closer up, but do you see how she has finished the piece, attached it to what looks like wool? That might be a strap, or oh, it's gonna be, maybe it's a pillow. Looks like it might be a zip, but you see the weaving of wool on the left. That is cool, isn't it? So you could do that with wool blend felt, or wool, like thick pieces of wool. She's woven it, and it's created such an interesting. Um, what word am I trying to say now? Complement to the lamplight piece. Very different, isn't it? We don't normally. I have a question sometimes. Can you felt with wool from the craft store? Not if it's the blend stuff, right? It's going to be way too hard to pick up with your hook. If anybody wants to counter that, you know I love to be wrong, so feel free. Oh, Steph, there you are. We just started. You're jumping right in at the right time. So this is a close-up of the lamplight. I really, really admire this piece. It is a lovely piece. Do you see there's Quilly at the southwest, right? Well, kind of just the west. And we're going to see a closer-up version of the Quilly too. Andrew says, has the blue outline circle been needle felted really low? So Steph, since you're on to the right of the lamplight, I think you mean, right? And Steph says it's velvet and the wool is used also in the piece. So it's wool and velvet. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Let me see. Hang on. I want to come to that in a second. I think that was probably the exchange one. Steph, I'm going to pull this larger. I just want to look at it larger because it's a high quality photo and it's a high quality piece. So let's look at it a little bit closer. Oh, interesting. Okay. So I'm also curious about that very translucent, very sort of hazy circle right to the right that we're seeing there. The felting is beautiful. God, I love how you pulled up some I think you're punching here, right? I love how you got some loops through the felting. And I'm thinking, did you do that second? You did the felting first, right? That's really remarkable. It becomes like a ballet between the wild felting, right, and then the really pronounced loops. Interesting. 45 people watching and only 9 likes. That's right. Hit the like button. That's good, Jay. Thank you. And so Steph says the blue is hooked. The punched part is the black around the black. Gotcha. Gotcha, gotcha. Cool texture in the lantern's flame. Absolutely. Super cool piece. Really cool piece. Mom says, very cool piece. I love all the unorthodox approach, all the methods used here. Funky. It is funky and super nice. I love that too. Judy says, that's super interesting, Steph. I love felting and I've wondered how it might be incorporated into rug hooking. Here we go, right? This is a perfect example. Let me bring it back down to a smaller size so we can look at it a little bit from a distance again. This is a great fusion. This is something that I want to tack in a live video as soon as it slows down just a little bit. And I love the orders, by the way. I need those orders. I'm thinking more about all the teaching dates I have coming up. But I do have a bunch of videos kind of on deck for you, too. And this has got to be one. I have not recorded yet, but this has got to be one that I bring forward because I know a lot of people are interested in fusing these techniques, as you should be. We are all Renaissance people here, right? And I think, Steph, this is probably the exchange piece, right? For that most recent exchange that Jean Coates did in our group, also the Facebook group Rug Hooking and Punch Needle Club. I absolutely love this piece. It is so, so, so exquisite. I love the design. I love the abstract quality. I love the directional flow that it's got. Different on the bottom right-hand triangle, right? If you were to cut it diagonally across, the bottom right to me is completely different than the top left. And I love that kind of play. And I am noticing, I think I'll stretch this one out too. I am noticing that it's felted in here too. And Steph said the wool, when the wet/Nuno felted becomes one with linen and creates interesting color combos. Oh, okay. Oh, uh-oh. See, that is exciting. So you're saying, when you relate it to the backing that you're working on, there is even further play and maybe a little bit of like the unknown, right? Interesting. It is always fun to experiment. I love your approach. I love these pieces, and I love that you included a fusion piece like this for tonight's show because you can see people are so interested. Judy says, love the flame and the way that the light filtered out over the black frame. I did too. Now let me come back to there because I wanna look at that again. I also love that. This reminds me of the fact that my dad's, right, Mom, his first job was a lamplighter. I mean, that's such a moment in time, isn't it? Oh, I just love it. Isn't there a song about a lamplighter? Is that like, I'm wondering if it's a Tom Lehrer song and it's a naughty song, more of a joke song. But I feel like there's an old lamplighter song, something like that. Very sweet. Steph says, yes, yes, it is okay, so this one here is the exchange piece, and it does have needle felting in the centers. You did not go to the next step to wet felt it. Completely different, right? Two completely different techniques because wet felting includes needing to agitate it, usually on like a washer or something that has texture so you can really rile it up. These are video things I think that are better explained. But I do want to point out one more time that this is a great use of quilly. That green circle on the way western side of this piece, that is quilly, right? Little wrapped pieces of wool strips, and they come out so beautifully when you stitch. Oops, wait a minute. When you stitch them together and attach them to your backing, and then hook or punch around them the way that Steph did. Beautiful. Hang on one second. I'm going to turn off the heat because I'm going to expire. You know me. This always happens. Hot, cold. You know. Okay. Another really lovely piece. Melanie, this is fantastic. I have this as I'm worried I might have missed off. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry when we missed the gallery nights. It's so hard because Jane, who is my great buddy, and I could not make any moves without Jane in Wales. Jane Davies. I know you don't like it when I shout out lots of love and thanks, but lots of love and thanks always because I can't function without you. I have her go into my email and pull stuff out, so we often miss stuff. And if we've missed your piece ever in a gallery night show, it is absolutely an accident, absolutely. And I hope and pray and I encourage you to hit me up again and just let me know that we made a mistake, right? Because it's me. It's always me when this happens. I always want to include all of the work that I get, and if I'm not able to because the show is too long, I will always contact you, right? But it's never that I went, nah. So I'm very glad to have this piece here. This is a stunner, Melanie. This is absolutely a stunner. So you said, I've made progress on my Santa. And Melanie, have you made more progress on the Santa, I'm wondering? No pressure at all. I'm so glad you got your computer working. Oh my God. It's kind of ironic, isn't it? Because it almost wasn't again. I was watching an old Cocktail Time and you were talking about different backings. I ran across a material called linen burlap. It looks like primitive linen, but it's about half the price. Have you ever heard of it? I remember you asking that. It doesn't feel like burlap. It's very soft to the hand. And my answer was I have heard of it and I don't stock it and I haven't used it. I've seen it at Door Mill, which is where I wholesale most of my backings. With the exception of my linen, which I always get from Michelle Micarelli because it's still my favorite. Has anybody tried gosh, I already forgot what it was called, linen burlap? Has anybody tried that? That sounds like an absolute hybrid and could be a really great thing. So I'd be curious about that as well. Lovely background work on Santa will be beautiful for the next holiday season. Absolutely. Can't get enough of Too Many Santas. I agree. And you know, it's fun. I absolutely love this piece. It's just a beautiful piece. I feel like you finished it. I feel like you definitely finished it in that it was gorgeous. So I'm wondering if it's just me. I wonder if we looked at this together. Regardless, I want to look at it some more. I love the swirls. I love the tree. I feel like I at least saw part of this. I love the lines that are used like on the bag and on the sack. Graphic, simple telling. Very simple, stark lines, but then in that background, all those swirls, right? So much going on. I absolutely love this piece. I have an answer on the song. Let me come here so I don't lose my place. Dave says, the old lamplighter of long, long ago, song from the 1950s from the group The Browns. Never would have got that if I was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I would have used up all my lifelines right there. That is good to know. I felt like that. I can't. If I knew the song, I would sing it because I'm such a ham. But I'm gonna have to listen to it on Spotify later. There I go, advertising other people again, right? Absolutely beautiful, Melanie. I just love that piece. I was just gonna say something else. What was I gonna say? Gosh. Mom, what did you say? Yes, Dad was a lamplighter in Fitchburg, Massachusetts when he was very, very young. He was so proud, and then he went on to his career at the soda fountain as the soda jerk. Right? Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? I remember that song, Dave. Thank you. Yes, Santa is done. It was all done with polar fleece. Interesting. Oh, let me come back over there. All done with polar fleece. Now that doesn't ring a bell at all. I'm gonna have to take a look at that. Let's look at that. Because polar fleece is something that we all see. I'm gonna stretch it out a little bit. That we see often. The whole thing, Melanie. The whole thing, or just the background. Gosh, that's a great idea because, polar. There's lots of different. Sorry, I'm struggling with the program. There's lots of different polar fleece at the big craft stores, Joann's, Michaels. You know who they are. Um, and they always have those stupid sales, right? As if like, oh God, you are so lucky today. There's a huge sale. Well, there's a huge sale every day, and then you slam down the coupons and you get it for like a third of the price. And if you don't, that's really a shame because they fully expect you to, right? And they price it accordingly. Interesting. Interesting. Yes, the entire piece is fleece. Oh, isn't that interesting? So no problems, Melanie. No problems with pulling it up in loops. It just did it work great for you? And how did you cut it with a cutter or did you cut it with your scissors or a rotary cutter? Because I'm just wondering how thick for a backing like this you would need, how thin rather you would need to go, and if it hurts your hand at all. Because it seems like it's not. Well, now that I'm shooting my mouth off, I was going to say it seems like it's not very stretchy. But then again, I often make, I'm going to come back here so I know where we are. I often make tops for Jocelyn out of the polar fleece. And when I think about it and I'm running it under the sewing machine, it is quite stretchy. Interesting. And I have made stockings, like Christmas stockings, out of polar fleece. Interesting. Yeah, a genius wondering the same thing. What size cut? Huh, polar fleece is so thick. Yeah, everybody's wondering the same thing. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? I guess when I think about polar fleece, I think of it as being the same kind of thickness as, for example, boiled wool. But you would never be able to work with that because it's thick and dense. Whereas polar fleece is not a woven, right? It's like a complete synthetic. So, unlike wool in any form, it would be easier to pull up, wouldn't it? Interesting, despite the thickness, because it's still soft. Now I'm thinking about someone sharing a polar bear. That'd be a funny cartoon, but it would only be funny to us, right? Not funny to the person doing the sharing. That would probably end really badly. So I'm sure she'll write us back there. That is really interesting. What a great conversation to peel off, right? Super, super, super interesting. Melanie says, it works great. I cut it on my Sissix. Okay, I wouldn't cut more than two thicknesses. It's 8 and 6 cuts. That absolutely, I got to go back to it a third time, Melanie. That is absolutely so surprising. So you know a Sissix, oops, I'm sorry, a Sissix cutter is, I'm going to show you visually. Well, I'm not going to get in the other room. It's like the white thing that cranks. It's for scrapbooking, and it has these die trays. They're dies, right, with a metal embedded in the foam, and then you sandwich them together and you crank it and it cuts the strips. Sizzix, Sizzx. And the old tattered. You can buy the Sizzix anywhere, the machine itself, but the old tattered flag um, sell the dies, which are like black trays, in any size cut from I think like a 3 to I want to say like a 10. Um, Interesting. Oh, Colleen, good to see you. You're coming up later on. Good to see you. Happy Friday. Interesting. So, and you're also saying, Melanie, on top of that, you would only do two thicknesses. Now, that's interesting because it's a wider cut, right? You probably wouldn't do, maybe you could do two with like a number 3 cut, right? That I just think it would be so fine and they might come undone because, again, it's not a woven. This is interesting because the while I'm thinking about the nature of fleece, right? Um, it could pull apart if it was too thin, right? Because it's not woven. Um, this is an interesting conversation. And you're saying you use two thicknesses, which surprises me because when I use my Sizzix, I never use more than three of door wool, right? I dye the door wool, and it's always my own colors and stuff, but it's all door wool before I dye it. And I can't do more than three thicknesses because I feel like it pushes the machine too much. It makes me nervous, and sometimes it doesn't cut all the way through. And I do buy trays quite a bit, so it's not like I have one tray and I've used it for years. So that's interesting because that sounds to me like it's cutting, as Barbara Streisand would say, like butter. So that's interesting. I'm going to have to try this. This is a great thing, Melanie. Thank you so much. I think a lot of people are interested because it's another material that is certainly miles less expensive than wool. And you can get it solid, you can get it patterned, and you can get it on great sales at your local store. That really is fantastic information. Thank you so much. That's exactly what I love about tonight. So now here we go. I'm going to move. I'm not moving very speedy, am I? I gotta, holy mackerel. I got to do better. So, okay, so Kathleen Glynn sent some beautiful work. I have one after this too, but this is a beautiful raven. And she said that she found this. This is a William Morris that has been made by Rugs by the Sea. She found the image itself on Pinterest initially, but it's Rugs by the Sea, the pattern. It's 15 by 15. And she said, "Let me show you the finished one. This is in progress." And then she finished it a little bit. Melanie's adding, fleece is only stretchy in one direction. I cut it in the non-stretchy direction. That is essential, isn't it? Fleece is only stretchy in one direction. I cut it in the non-stretchy direction. In other words, by cutting it in the, that makes a lot of sense. By cutting it in the non-stretchy direction, it doesn't have the chance to come apart, right? Because it's not stretching. So it's locked to itself in one direction, and in the other direction, it wants to stretch. So if you were to cut it the wrong way on the stretchy side, it would fall apart, wouldn't it? Because it's already stretching, which means it's pliable, it's flexible, it's dangerous. But she's cutting it on the non-stretchy. That's got to be it, Melanie. If you're going to do it, you have to do it that way. That makes perfect sense. Excellent, excellent. So Kathleen Glynn, this is an absolutely beautiful pattern. I was watching this evolve on our Facebook group, our Facebook page, and absolutely loving it. And I think there's a further picture of it. Yes, finished. So beautifully finished. This is on burlap, right? I love burlap. Lots of people love burlap. I just love this piece. I remember we talked about this as it was being made because I remember I remarked on that directional flow of the bird's body and how that was exquisite, just fantastic. And I love, you said you sort of outlined in the light blue, also the border. Doesn't that do a lot for the piece? That very light, pastelly, bright, sort of bright light blue, in contrast with all of the different blacks, all of the antique blacks, that very flat, very dull, I mean, in terms of color, not in terms of interest, green that's present in other places. I love the continuation of that color of green. It's like a borderline khaki, right? It's like a very sort of clay color, very flat, dark, light, dull, bright. I probably said this when we saw the work in progress because it's a great example of this. And black yarn used on the edges. It's an absolutely beautiful piece. The sort of paprika and clay colors of the flowers also are really, really, for me, helping this piece be this unique. I love the little yellow legs coming down. It's just a great design. It's a great execution. And I absolutely love the colors. I would have never thought about it using the light blue with the paprikas and all these shades of black, but it is absolutely beautiful. Judy says, this has such a fairy tale quality, and it really does. Ryan says, I like the orange pink color palette you chose for the flowers. Absolutely. It's very, very unexpected. Really, truly stunning. Um, sorry, I was just reading. Now, this is another piece that you're working on. And you said of this piece, we saw the picture when you were about to start it, I think, and now you've gone a little bit further, which is really exciting. And you said of this piece, right? It has a backstory. So you were drawing this one. This is something that you are drawing original onto the backing. And you said my nephew and his fiance are recently engaged and bought a house, and they texted you this photo, so you are not sure where it's from, and that is okay. We can see that you are making it as a gift, and it is perfect, and it is what your nephew and his fiance wanted, and absolutely going to be beautiful. Good luck, blessings to them. I cannot wait to see this. Further along, we have a little bit further along. This is just the beginning. Oh, Gaynor, good to see you. Welcome to the live show. I think you got some linen. Did you get some linen? I think I just put it in the mail. Good to see you live. I'm very happy you're there. Now, this is gorgeous seeing this way. Isn't this neat? Huge emphasis, Kathleen, on directional hooking, and you are a master at it. I love the way you broke up that like sort of blood moon in the background, right? There's more. Maybe it's probably a planet, not the blood moon, right? It's probably like Mars or something, because there's more than one planet showing. This is a fantasy piece, right? I love how you changed the piece, because if you look at the original picture that your nephew sent, it's very different, right? The dragon is standing on something different, whether it's driftwood or another animal, a conquest, hard to tell. But I like what you did here. You simplified it. It looks great. I like how you simplified the background as well. That really furthers the piece. You made some really thoughtful and intelligent choices. Ryan says, great fantasy piece. Love the color blocking. It looks like blocking. Look at taking. It is taking on some great stripy effects, and I like the graphic. I like the thick cut and the graphic way that because it's a thick cut, it is breaking down the colors, right? And you are making good decisions as you go. So this is just an extraordinary piece. I have no doubt that your nephew and fiance are going to absolutely love this piece. I'm guessing this is on burlap too because I'm thinking that's your favorite backing. And I love to know what everybody's favorite backing is. I also love burlap. And I haven't heard anything or I haven't caught anything in the thread about the linen burlap. I'm still real curious about that too. Kathleen, these are beautiful pieces. Oh, I think I have more. Right, so this is like work in progress. I love the work in progress. I love the way you end with your tails up. You know, when I'm teaching, people always say, do you have to cut? You leave your tails up, right? That's like I'm doing the quotes, right way to do it, just to avoid pulling them out underneath by accident, you know. But people say, do you have to cut as you go? You absolutely don't have to cut as you go. I am crazy about cutting as I go. My life is chaotic and untidy, and I try to keep my hooking like as tidy as possible. I guess that's ironic. But you absolutely don't have to. It doesn't look untidy. It looks beautiful. It looks more like a weaving when you see the tails like that. It's really striking. Really striking. Super, super pretty, Kathleen. You're doing some amazing work. I absolutely love both pieces. Cat's Gallery, happy Friday night. Great to see you. Who is this adorable baby? Candace, is this your adorable baby? This is one I missed out on last gallery night. So good morning. Oh, I think I know where we're going. Since you were so sweet about my nativity scene rug, I'm sending in one I finished this week. It is done with Oxford. Well, this is a cute face, right? We have to know who this is. We have to know who this little face is. What a little sweet pea. Okay, I get it. You with me now? That little face is this little sweetheart right here. Ooh, 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 ooh. Sorry, troubles. It's done with an Oxford mini punch and wool yarn. So mini punch is low pile, right? Mini punch is like, what is officially a mini punch? Like a 13 and a 13 with heels. Does that sound right? Um, Oxford mini punch in wool yarn, so all yarn. The cat was my big boy that had to be put down on Monday before we went on COVID lockdown in March of 2020. Oh, I'm so sorry, that sweet person. Let's look at the sweet face again. Oh honey, you sweet person, little fur person. That's your booby. Oh, well, immortalized forever in this great tribute, right? Yeah, you can't have them suffer. I'm just reading what you wrote. You're grateful that it happened that way instead of him suffering or us having to do everything was shut down. Oh, and you really wanted to capture the eyes. Look at those sweet eyes. I love those kinds of like half a lemon eyes, bright, bright green. Really pretty design. I just love it. And you wrote, I am not a painter, but I figured out how to paint with wool. Well, you sure did. You really did. I love the way there's that kind of glow underneath. Like a heavenly yellowy glow, isn't it? Coming up from the southeast corner of it. That's really smart. Really pretty. So I added him to my family gallery wall. Every frame is perfectly straight. Oh, but those optical illusions. Probably more info. No, never more info than I need. I need all the info, right? We need all of it. Absolutely beautiful, Candace. So let's look some more. This is the wall. Oh, right there in the middle. He's right there in the middle, that little sweetheart. Judy says, yes, those eyes are amazing. Ryan says, cat piece is so lovely. Adore the decision to make it circular and the pretty flowers. Oh, it is so pretty. So pretty. What a great vignette you've got going there. That is really striking. And what a lovely piece of furniture, too. Very nice. I really, really admire the vignette. Absolutely love it. Oh, no, wait a minute. I got more stuff. Um, Okay, hang on. Good evening. I'm attaching a design. Now, Candace, this is still you, right? I'm attaching the rug design. No, wait a minute. Now, why have I got this in the wrong place? I feel like I screwed something up, everybody. Oh, my word. The second one. Okay, okay, so this is okay, Candace. This is still you. Holy mackerel, I'm sorry. I scared myself. So, this is still okay. The second is the one. No, it's not, is it? Candace, can you let me know since you're on? Is this a piece that you're working on right now? Because I feel like I screwed this up. And I don't want to show it if I've got the wrong name attributed to it. Leave it to me. I might have to leave that one out. So hang on a second. I'm going to wait for the answer on that. And I know I have another of Candace's pieces. Um, yes. Okay, so hang on. Okay. I'm going to wait on that one for a second. Steph says it's stunning, the lovely eyes, and I love the roses. Beautiful piece. And this is going to be another amazing piece. This is a piece that emerged during our class, designing your own story rug, right? So I loved having this conversation with you. Oh, good, Candace. Okay, good. So I can go back to that one. I scared myself. I scared myself. So good. Let's do this first. I loved having this conversation with you because you were telling us about the story of this truck. Now, if I screw this up, please correct me, right? Please correct me because it was a great story. But you said that there had been this truck in the family, and if you can remind us whose truck it was, but that it was an antique truck and it was beautiful turquoise blue, and you hoped, or you and your, I think you and your husband hoped to have the truck eventually, but the truck got sold, and it was like a big disappointment and a huge loss. Um, oh, good, 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 good. That's for the next one. And you wanted to kind of immortalize the truck because it is gone. Um, and we were working with that. And you were also trying to incorporate, if I remember right, the other Jay loves the old truck. It is stunning, stunning composition and beautiful depictions of this truck. So you were working from photos and things, right? And you also wanted to incorporate. I think it was oh come on, corn, something to do with corn, right? And apple orchards, apple butter, and something to do with corn. I know you're going to tell me. See, my memory is not as good as I thought. Shishi Mac, so glad to be there. You are there. I'm so glad you're there too. Great to see you. Welcome. So she was able to incorporate the corn motif. It's mashing up the. Is it mashing up the corn? And the apple orchard. And we were talking in the class, you really wanted more than one view of the truck because with this, you are immortalizing the truck, right? And this is a big deal. So, corn roasts and apple butter, that's it. Roasts. Corn roasts and apple butter, good. So, these are two big themes that you wanted to incorporate into this family rug that is an heirloom rug and a story rug. And having the three views of the truck, we talked about this during the class because there is always the chance with more than one view of the truck that you might have it looking like an advertisement for a truck. And it absolutely doesn't. It's very quaint. You've got the text that you wanted in there. You've got the truck three times. You've got the other two representations that were important. And you ended up putting in, I think it was a good call, the river going right through breaking that border. And it brings your eyes sweeping right down. So I absolutely love this piece. You've got it transferred onto your backing and you are ready to go. That looks like linen. You are ready to go. And I want to also show because I worked on it today. The three colors of turquoise that I have for you that I'm sure the monitor's not right. This is like a double piece here. This is the turquoise for the trucks. They're bigger than they look. They're like quadrupled up. Turquoise for the truck. Monitor's not great. The light turquoise, the dark turquoise. So those are ready to go. And then all these guys, which are the shiny shinies, the holographics for that are going to match these colors super well, right, for the truck. It's going to be beautiful. I haven't got daytime lights in here, but all of these nice hieroglyphics, holographics that really are the mixed colors and turquoises on the back, some white, some lights. And she's going to work these holographics with all the turquoise stuff into the river. So the river's like shining. It's going to be beautiful. Beautiful. So I absolutely love that. What a family heirloom, Robin says. That's so true. Karen loves the design. Absolutely beautiful. It's going to be perfect. Very happy with the way the colors turned out too. So to be continued. That is a great story rug right there. Now let me come back because I was boobing it up as usual, and I did have the right slides, and my notes are correct, and I should know that they would be right because Jane did them for me. She did the notes, and she is my wizard. So let's come back here. I was a silly stoopy. So of this you said the hope chest is my grandmother's, and the chest at the bottom was your grandmother's, and all the paintings on the wall are by my family. Gosh, you have a creative and artistic family. That is really remarkable. Now, Candace, I am missing. Oh no, I'm not. So this is the second one you've been working on. It will be an oval rug, and my first time doing flowers, so I'm not sure about the shading. I used 7 cut on the scrolls, and you'll put in a black background. I'm using a number 4 cut for the floral center motif. Okay, so I want to say a few things about this, Candace. I love your scrolls more than I've ever loved any scrolls. And I don't know exactly how you did this, but they are so graphic. It looks like a shadow effect. It looks super, super, super deco. And this is just my opinion, these scrolls are so expertly graphically done that I personally would have a hard time. I would never think to do them this way, right? They're so shadowy and intense. It looks like a print, right? Like a color print, like a limited edition. Very, very, very cool. It's up to you how much detail you want in the flowers, because right now you've got some great graphic design happening. And if the flowers are not completely realistic, for me that would be fine because you have set the bar high for a truly unique and graphic piece. So entirely up to you. I know that whatever you do is going to be number 1 right, and number 2 going to come out perfectly. I already love it. I feel that the hard part is done because what you did with that scroll is so unique in my mind that you can do no wrong at this point. However you go, into the future with this piece, it's going to be great. So yeah, the scrolls are just beautiful. I have never seen scrolls done in exactly this way, and I am really, really inspired. It's super shapy, and it looks like a print. It looks like nice flat paint, almost like wallpaper. Beautiful colors, really well done, absolutely awesome. And as Jay says, that's awesome, Candace. Down home country feel really does. Well, see, I like this. I like where you're going with the flowers. I like the outline. You're keeping it simple. This makes sense to me. This is fantastic. Keep going. Agenia also thought they were awesome scrolls. They're simple, but I don't know. I was going to say wacky. They're not wacky in an odd way. I've never seen them handled that way, and I'm just blown away. I really am. Takes the pressure off. Pressure's off, right? Lid is off. It is coming out great. So just make sure that you keep us updated because it is an extraordinary piece. Linda, you are doing. I know I'm gonna kill your last name, and I hate it when I do this. Linda Knataitis, maybe something like. So beautiful, Linda. The 2 pieces you sent tonight are both ribbon candy hooking pieces, and kind of like, at the risk of sounding like an idiot, brought tears to my eyes because, you know, you did better with both of these pieces than I did with my own pieces, and added so much bling, so much interest. Here is your version of tomato pincushion, and you said I was inspired to bling it up by the other kit you bought was shiny things, the bird's nest. Um, the friend I gifted it to loved it. So you gifted the tomato one, right? This one here. Absolutely extraordinary. I just love all of the things that you added to it. I love the little threader. I love the spool being attached. It looks like it's attached with a wool strip. The buttons, the wool coming out. It is so cool. It looks like such fun picking out the elements, Andrea. It is. And Melanie, you're right. That last piece, it did look like a document style scroll. It did. It was super flat and it was just smart. Beautiful. I just love this piece. I love all the crazy colors. That's what my piece was missing, right? And I love all the three-dimensional stuff. And I can still add this stuff to my piece. I can be a real copycat. I love that you added pins and stuff to it like a real pin cushion. It is just lovely. It's wild and free. It tells a story. This is a story rug, right? If you feel like I think you gifted this one. I was going to say, if you want to send this one in for the gallery exhibit in Hartford, this is a great story rug. I absolutely love it because it looks like not my work surface, but like, well, actually, that's a lie. It does look like my work surface with stuff all over the place. I was going to say like my drawer, like my sewing drawer with all the bits and pieces in it. So lovely. This was a remarkable piece, and so was Shiny Things. Now, you're still, I think, I'm not sure if you're still working on it. You might still be adding bits to it. But this is another ribbon candy hooking design, Shiny Things. The bird coming in, kind of like the sunset pink, the browns in the branch heading out, and you've got a lot of height, a lot of proddy, a lot of mixed fibers in the nest, lots of proddy, right? The leaves are sticking out like proddy. You left your ends up, and it looks wonderful. It gives such a great effect. And I think you're probably about to attach a bunch of crazy things to the nest because with this design, and the way you made the pincushion too, with this design, the idea was that the bird was like a magpie collecting all kinds of shiny things and putting them in the nest. So the kit comes with a lot of different buttons and jewels and little shiny things that you can, if you like, sew onto the nest, which is on the bottom left. Lovely, lovely design. And incidentally, shameless plug, the links to both of those kits are in the description of this video tonight if you love it. So I love the additions to the tomato rug. Absolutely brings it to life. You said apple, but I knew you meant tomato, Jay. I knew you meant it. So cool. So here we go. I'm going at a little more of a clip because I looked at the clock and I got stomach cramps. My buddy Ann. Oh, Ann just went to Florida, but she sent these. There's another one later in the show from her too. That's another amazing contribution to the Facebook page. Ann Polizzo, one of my great buddies, work in progress here. So she looked at this chair and said, "I want something else on there." Right. So this is what I mean about tonight. There are some examples tonight of some really different things that we're seeing people send in and post on our Facebook page. Really different. So this reminds me of, and one of my great heroes. I know I've mentioned Erica Wilson before, the British. She was known for needlepoint, mostly crewel, right? But all kinds of needlepoint. And in the 1970s, she had a wonderful short show, maybe about 20 minutes, and I talk about it sometimes on Coffee Time, where she would come in, Mr. Rogers style, past the window and in through the door in her very British voice, and be talking about how to make all these different kinds of needle points, stitches, and different forms. But she would also look at things like couches and furniture and show you how to put a piece of fabric over a piece of furniture like Anne's chair and take the pattern piece off of it so that you could then work it in needlepoint or rug hooking or whatever you feel. So extraordinary piece, right? And guess what? Guess what she's working on? Now I think she's gonna. I don't know how this relates now. I'm confused. She says, "Here's my work in progress. I have finished the main part. The pattern is Michelle Palmer's Folk Fracture Robin Redbreast pattern. I'm planning on punching an area around it with yarn from Rebecca Martin, another one of my great buddies, Storyteller Wool, love you, to reupholster an old chair I bought this summer." Okay, so you can see where she's going with this. So she's going to use Rebecca Martin is Storyteller Wool, and she's one of my great friends. She is amazing. Some of her yarn in a pattern by Michelle Palmer, that's called Folk Fractor. This pattern here, Robin Redbreast, and she's going to make it by the sound of it to fit the chair. So that is going to be something to watch. I'm not, you know what? I was going to say I'm not saying it's a difficult piece to do. It is a difficult piece to do, but not for Anne. Anne is like a magician. So, I want to show you something that Anne did. You're going to remember this. It's right here. For the first rug exchange, I was teaching in Maine right around the time, the first or the second one, and Anne was in the class. She came to the class that she could have taught the class, but she brought this because she had pulled, and I got to glue this back on the ribbon candy here, but she brought this to me in class because she had pulled my name, and she said, no pressure there. She's so funny. As if, I mean, what could be better than this, though? Just love her. I love her so much. So amazing. We're going to follow the progress of that chair because that is a very different and ambitious project, but again, not for Anne. She's going to whip that out and it's going to be astonishing. Karen, another person who struggles with nothing. You are so talented. It's crazy. So Karen said, hello, Deanna and Jane. Here are some of the photos of my March Lion rug. Now we saw this in sketch form on earlier episodes of cocktail night, right? So it's 16 and a half by 19 and a half and hooked on rug warp. I used Waldoboro, rug hooking. Now travel your eye around so you can see all these forms. Waldoboro, rug hooking, felting, proddy, latch hook, and punch to complete this project. Karen, your superpower is like being a human sampler. Like it's astonishing. So let's go through that again. On the bottom left, I'm seeing it is Candace, isn't it crazy? It's amazing. The latch is on the bottom left, and the only reason I know that you can latch either Rhea yarn or whatever, is this still the Rhea wool, Karen? Into traditional rug hooking backings is because Karen did it, right? Karen figured it out and blazed the trail for the rest of us. I think this is extraordinary. Also Waldoboro. So Waldoboro is raised hooking. I think I have another image, so let me just, okay, so wait a minute. I want to come back to that one. Waldoboro B, right, with like sort of applique sewn on. Oh no, Prati. They're going to be Prati, aren't they? The thin sort of transparent wings. So smart. Judy saying, are those wool locks for the mane? Fabulous. So we'll wait for that answer because I'm thinking it's probably yes. So lovely. And then the Prati flowers throughout. Lots of raised Waldoboro, not just that one spot. Let's come back to the mane. Judy's saying, are these wool locks? They definitely look like it. What a perfect use, right? Oh, here we go. I also use lots of different fiber. I used Cotswold locks for the lion's mane. There we go. Wool and wool yarn. Sparkle bonbon yarn for the horn. Okay, sparkle bonbon yarn for the horn. Let me come back. Hang on. Oops, wait a minute. Oh, for the horn. Okay, yep. Oh, you know what? Let me pull that a little bit. Karen, are you pleased with the way that the text is in the body of the piece? Because I feel like I was steering you toward that, and I absolutely love it that way. I hope that you do too. So you can see the sparkle. There was the Rhode Islander in me. The sparkle bonbon yarn for the horn, translucent lame coated with Mod Podge. Okay, so for the bumblebee wings, that is translucent lame right here, coated with, God, you're smart, Mod Podge for the bumblebee wings. Now, did you put on the Mod Podge to make it more stiff, give it a bit more integrity? And put some beads in the middle of some of the flowers. See, that's smart too, right? That's really smart. You can see that real well in this picture. The actual saying is that March comes in like a lion and out like a lamb. But here in Colorado, we usually have March coming in and going out like a lion, hence the play on words. Oh, I absolutely love this. I'm going to bring it back down so we can look at it as a whole one more time. It is completely amazing, Robin. I mean, it really is. I love what you said, Jay, too. It's just amazing. Karen, you always you just hit it out of the park, and you use so many different techniques. I'm like, I defer to you for so many things at this point because you have blazed the trail on so many fronts, and we all appreciate it. It is just extraordinary. Ryan says Mod Podge wasn't on my rug making bingo card, but I love it. Yeah, I mean, isn't it great to kind of pig pile all of these different techniques, all of these different products, reach across the proverbial aisle, two different, like, and literal aisle at the craft store, two different crafts, to be able to use the things that make the most sense. Absolutely amazing. Karen, it's extraordinary. As always, it is extraordinary. Now let me make sure. Yep, we absolutely beautiful. Want to make sure that we saw all these. And I also want to say the directional hooking in the background, incredible. Like, it's just incredible. March goes out like a lion. I love the cleverness of this. This is a story rug for sure. I just love this. I love the text. I love the drawing. I love the execution. I love the sampler of styles. Oh, I just love it. I love the way everything is done. I really love it. And I am just realizing now how much I love that light blue with that kind of mellow cranberry that we're seeing in the Prati, but also in the border. Like, that is extraordinary. I'm sorry, I just shouted, but it is. It really is. It's great. You're making great color choices. I love this color palette. Think about it. The warm brown, the yellow, which is very warm, and then the not so warm kind of purpley rose, like a dusky aubergine kind of a rose, with the petal pinks, kind of the seashell pinks, and then those blue purple right in between shades in the other flowers, and then some true kind of pinky lilac in the bottom right. You do so well intuitively with color that it's very striking. Karen says the bee wings are Mod Podge because the original fabric didn't hold up for days. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. You just make it a lot stiffer that way. That makes a lot of sense. And Colleen also noticed, being the pro that you are too, Colleen, the great directional hooking in the background. It really is. It's out of the park. It's a beautiful piece. Now, coincidentally, Tara has been working on. This is another lion piece that I absolutely love. I love this piece. I love this piece. I love the story of this piece. So Tara's working on Pet Lion. And she says, I've been working away on Pet Lion, and now I'm deciding which direction to do the skyline in. I will add the small teddy bear when it's done. Small teddy bear. Okay, you see the small teddy bear in the hand, right? So she probably just put it there for now. But you see the character of the boy is her baby brother. Um, and yes, at 55, it still lives with him. So he still has the teddy at 55. Isn't that funny? Oh my gosh. So he's actually walking behind Pet Lion and holding his teddy bear. Casey Shaw, good to see you in Wisconsin. Welcome. I'm so glad you're there. Now, I hope that I'm allowed to say this, but I remember the post, and I remember Tara saying that Pet Lion was an imaginary friend to her brother when he was growing up. And that just moved me in such a huge way. I just love the idea of not just having a pet lion, a pet anything, an imaginary friend. I think this is such a healthy thing about childhood, that your imagination can run wild like this. But it's so unusual to have a pet lion. It's usually an imaginary friend, or like some domestic pet that you would have at home. Pet lion is so different. I just love this piece. This piece like just stabs my heart with love and inspiration. I also love the directional hooking, Jay, in the lion's body, in the mane, going very counter, right? Fighting with, in the best way, the fence and the tree. So smart. And I love how the little boy, the little brother, pops because he's against that green bush, right? So that's good choices. But of course, Tara is a pro, so I'm not surprised. Absolutely beautiful. That's a great storyteller rug, Steph. You are not kidding. I absolutely love it. Love it. Two great lions in a row. Linda Ann, you did a crazy abstract mixture of yarn and wool on burlap. So using the burlap, loving the burlap. This is an amazing piece. And I think you're on, unless you trailed off, understandably. But I love the abstract nature of this piece. Cindy says the lion is his power animal. There you go. That's the perfect way to look at it. That's it. Because he's so little compared to it. It does look Egyptian, Gaynor says. I saw that comment above too. It does. It does. That was a great. I'll just hold on one second. One more time. Looks very Egyptian. He's very regal. The glow, I think, like, and just the colors on the body. It's like picking up on the muscles and the fur, and and he's holding him by the tail, right? And there's a story there in itself. And then the little sort of tiny teddy bear, preformed, perfect little teddy bear in the hand. I think it just doesn't get any better than that. And yes, yes, Ryan, Linda Ann's piece is remarkable. I just love the design, and I know you love working with yarn, and I love how at this piece you gave it that sort of diagonal thrust. You went through it with that dark line, right? So it's almost like a cross, right? It crosses under. Great design choice, because when we look at composition, sometimes we say, well, what does this remind me of? Well, the letter X, right? And this is always a strong design choice. Using a letter like an O and X, there are some that work better than others. X is very strong. Super cool design, super cool abstract. And Ryan, I can see why this appeals to you so much, right? Because you love to do stuff like this. You're a great puncher, but you also go toward the abstract with such a great appetite for design and intuitive choices, right? You both make great intuitive choices. I love the mottled brown, the mottled green. Within that red flower at the bottom, there's another mottled or multicolored, variegated wool. And then there's a lot of solids. And there's a lot of interesting choices with outlining, like the red. The color palette in itself is exciting, right? Black, white, red, mustard, and then these grassy greens. So it's like we've got these high impact power colors, but then we've got these soft nature colors, the soft grassy green and the brown, like the mixed browns. Super interesting, Linda Ann. This is absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Jean Coates, you were working on a beautiful piece as well. This rug was made to honor our children. The trees represent each child. That is fantastic. And there is a hidden initial in each tree. I'm going to make it larger in a second. I finished this as a pillow cover. I made an envelope on the back with the backing material to insert a pillow form. Smart. This was the first time I tried to whip finish, incorporating the backing as I went to eliminate sewing around the backing first and then whipping the edge. Absolutely. Why not just cut out the middleman, right? Just leap right over him, leapfrog right over him. Let's look at this a little bit larger. This is an extraordinary piece. I love the symbolism here. I love the storytelling, right? And there's a building to the left that looks like a little church. It could be a house, but I see something white on the front. That might be a little church. That is super, super, super lovely. I'm going to pull it a little bit more because, well, she's saying that the initials are hidden, right? Sorry, I'm struggling. As you know, it's me struggling. Okay, I see them in the apple green. So they are well embedded. That is absolutely brilliant. That is brilliant. Do you see the much more apple green color in each of the four trees? That is brilliant. What a great use of warm colors and like fresh, grassy, bright colors, right? Like all of these very, very bright first green summer colors in the trees, but then a little bit of autumn coloring and evergreen coloring on the ground. Smart. So, so, so smart. Beautiful multi-sky. There's a lot of mottled, spot-dyed, multi-wool going into this piece, and yet the piece has a lot of unity, right? It sticks together in and of itself despite the many colors, which can go awry. They did not go awry. I also like kind of the stepped rock edge on it, and down at the bottom there's like a brick entry leading you into the trees. This is so smart, Jean. This piece is so smart. Let's look at what the back of it looks like as well. So that's the back that you sewed, and you can see you whipped right through. Now that's another great tip that's coming out of tonight. Why shouldn't you whip both front and back together at the same time? Save yourself the grief and aggravation. Why not, right? You're using a needle. It's going to go through your wool and it's going to go through your backing. You might as well do them together. That is a phenomenal tip. Great time-saving thought, and you've created the envelope, which is like folded in so you can smush marshmallow in that pillow, right, when it's time for it to go in there. Very three-dimensional, Cindy, it is. It is. It's got so much color. It's so, and I love that it represents the four children. Like it's just a great piece. I know I'm going to come back and look at this piece again in the future because I love the use of color, and I love how Jean is able to pull off this much color change and have it still be this strong, this unified as a composition. Of course, the trees are working in multiples, and that is always a great design. It's also a great idea to tip it on the diagonal like this. Because sometimes four can be boring if they're in a row, but tipped like this, it creates more of a diamond, doesn't it? It's a great composition. It's another great composition. Super, super smart and super well done. Nada. Oh, this is another beauty. So this is a memory rug by Nada Ferris, and this is absolutely beautiful. A memory rug honoring her grandmother and her great great grandmother, using a pattern from Not Forgotten Farm. They had a lot to contribute. So the grandmother and the great grandmother had a lot to contribute to her young upbringing. The great grandmother was a gardener and a quilter, and her grandmother was a stitcher. So, and these are the initials. So the gardener, the great grandmother was CIA, and grandmother was FMJ, and she was the stitcher. This piece is 21 by 34 using wool strips, number 4 through number 8. And she says, now that I see the lettering color in the photo, I'm likely going to use the gold in the vessel to tone it down a bit. And she says, thanks for looking. I absolutely love it. The gold in the vessel. I love it. I love it just like this. I think it's a beautiful piece. It's such a great traditional piece. I love the hearts in the air. I love that it's a tribute to both the grandmother and the great grandmother. And I love I love the black background, right? Love the pattern by Not Forgotten Farm. And I love the border, the brown and the black, right? I don't usually go for brown. In this case, it can't be anything but brown. It's so smart. It looks fantastic with this color palette. And those little stripies of black in there, right? So good. 3 sides and then text at the bottom with the date. I mean, this is really, really extraordinary. It's a very simple piece. Not if you're watching, I always associate you with doing pieces that are very tidy, streamlined, but filled with love, right? It just comes through, not just the literal hearts, but it's your feel, right? I would think of this as your rug even if I didn't know this was your rug. You have a style, and it really is something. It's extraordinary. It's a really beautiful rug. I love the pattern, love the little handles on the vase, and I love that border. Love the black and white border. Pretty vase, isn't it, Ryan? Judy says such pure colors against the black in this one. They are. They are. You know, they're not like traditional sort of primitive colors or rug hooking colors. They're a little bit brighter. I really love them, and I love that the green is the same because for me that continuity is important. I want to look around at the other stuff, and I don't want to be too distracted. This is, for me, a really perfect piece. It's really lovely. Now, I was talking about this piece a little bit earlier, and this is going to be a multi. So, Steph, this was in the Facebook group under Lady Lou and Steph Stark. And I wanted to pull this into today's show because it showed something that we had a little bit of foreshadowing with earlier. Oh, Cindy, no, I didn't. Hang on. Hang on. Oh my gosh, there is a heart in the vase. Holy molies. There is a heart embedded with directional hooking in the body of the vase, like the goldish vase. You saw that too, Ryan. See, I have a thumbnail. It's not my whole screen. So I've got it about 2 inches high. And now that you say it, I see it. And I am so glad that you pointed that out. That is the ultimate, right? That is the last little joke. In a piece that is filled with personal touches, right? Little thoughtful personal touches. Love it. Lady Lou and Steph Stark using ends of yarn to make felted motifs, right? So we talked about this earlier with the lamplighter piece, with the lamp. The clipped, so you said when we looked at that slide, I save all my little bits and pieces. I cut off all the little edges. I save all those little pieces and I use them. I save them and I use them. And this is how you're using them, at least in this instance. The clipped rug yarn ends called me to play with needle felting. I'm not sure if I'll use them as embellishments or as an adjacent piece. I hope you're also having fun playing. I'm glad that you wrote that in the post. That was so friendly and nice. Everybody is so friendly and nice. I just love it. So what's going on here, right? We're seeing the piece first, and here are the bits and pieces left over from this piece, and she is felting them. She's putting them, they're putting them together into little balls and felting them, needle felting, right? And you can see the green one looks like it's done. The others haven't been started yet. So you are rolling them together, needle felting them, And then it looks like you get a good flat piece going, and then you cut them. And now you can use them for applique, can't you? Or you can needle felt them down onto your rug hooking piece, onto anything. And you're using the kind of doily as the background, right? That's a good background for us. But there's like a little turquoise leaf because that was a little bit less on the left. And you were able to make hearts with the rest of the leftover, just the little clipped parts that are left over that fall on the floor and get swept up and thrown out. Isn't that brilliant? I think that's absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for a really smart post. Robin, it is an excellent idea. That was super inspiring. Mary Beth, you sent a beautiful, oh, I'm not sure if we peeled this off the page or if you sent it, but it's here because I love this. You said, this is my most challenging hooking project so far, but I managed to finish it. Good for you. Good for you. Perseverance, right? Just need to steam and bind the edges. Well, this is absolutely beautiful. And I know, I think this was on the Facebook group. This is a great salt box with a flag coming off, a fence over to the right, a great composition, beautiful primitive composition. Look at the beautiful directional hooking that's happening here. And the difference between that very sort of tidy house and fence and the wild sky with lots of changes to the blue and the clouds coming by. It is a remarkable piece. And I loved reading this post and following it because I noticed so many people said, it is so hard to hook a house. You're doing a great job and you're doing so much with directional hooking. And I absolutely echo that sentiment. This is beautifully done. Great job. It is always challenging to move on to the next thing, but you are doing beautifully, Mary Beth. This is really stunning. I love the mustard as an outline color too. To me, that makes this piece. I just love it. You are killing it. Keep going. And Steph said, of the last piece, yes, I actually felt them into the shape, and then I just have. Oh, so you actually made them into hearts that perfect? God, you're good. I figured you cut them with scissors after you made like a little square piece, But you actually made them into hearts. You're good. Oh, you are so tidy and good. That is great. And Melanie says, I keep all mine too. I just thought I could use them to stuff something. Never thought of felting. Absolutely. I use mine too sometimes to stuff stuff when I do three-dimensional stuff. It's also great to use if you have like the lint catcher in the dryer. Just take that lint out because it's that you can use for stuffing stuff too. And if it's pretty colors, you could try felting with it as well. That's another thing that I save, pack rat stuff. Beverly, this is such a beautiful piece. I think I have two of these. One that's even further finished, I think completely finished. So this photo, Beverly said, beautiful, well, I think I said this or Jane said this, beautiful in progress rug. And Beverly, you said, finally finished the hooking. This is 52 by 34 on monk's cloth with all hand-dyed wool yarn. Design is by Blackbird Designs. I don't know what I'm going to do with it because my problem child of a cat won't leave it alone. So it can be on the floor, I guess, and you'll just have to roll it and put it away. I see what you mean. Yeah, if it's real attractive to a cat with nails, it's like it's going to pull up your loops immediately, isn't it? Ryan says, lovely piece of Americana. Absolutely. Suze, we will take you late. It is great to see you in Kansas. I'm so happy that you're here. Happy Friday night. And let's do a cheers, my dears, all of us. Mm. Oh, I love that porter. Absolutely beautiful, Beverly. I was wondering what you were working on. I was almost starting to worry because you are like a house on fire all the time. Absolutely love this piece. But you're worried about putting it on the floor because of the problem child cat. I get that sentiment too. And you said, I've been working on it since the end of October. I get that sentiment too. Yeah, it's a large piece. I'm not surprised. This is the finished piece. This is just amazing. I just love this. I love these colors. This to me is like super early American colors. This looks like a pomegranate to me. I love the design. I love the very loose shapes of the flowers. I love the large floppy quality of the flowers in the center. Cindy's saying, is this punched or hooked? I can pull it in closer and see if we can figure it out. I'm thinking it's hooked, just because I'm thinking she usually hooks, but she did say she used yarn, so it could be punched. I'll pull it in closer and let's see if we can figure it out. I love the loose quality, oversized quality of the central motif, and then the very small petite quality of the border. Isn't that interesting? Those dit dots of the three sort of berries or little flowers, buds, in the border for me really echoes the blue, what I'm going to assume is that pomegranate shape in the center. I just love these offbeat colors. It is so different. It is so different. Let's come in a little bit further. Okay, I'm gonna say this looks punched. Beverly, if you are on, this is really, yeah, I'm gonna say this is punched. This looks very punched to me. Let me know what you think. I love how she's using different colors in the background. Now she hand dyed all of this too. April, late to the party. So glad that you're there. Happy Friday night. I love the warm orangey browns against that stony blue. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? I love that crazy aubergine with that like lighter plum and then that pistachio green. This really is something. I love the color change in the background. It looks like a much older rug. And Ryan, you're right. 52 by 34 is large. That is incredible. Love the berries on the border. I love that too. This is just a beautiful piece. I love the design, but I love my favorite thing about it is the colors and the color changes. It is a striking piece. Now, this was interesting. Jane pulled this off of our Facebook group, which again is Rug Cooking and Symbol um, Punch Needle Club. And she said, this is, let me get this right, this is Sonia Schrijvers. And that looks very Dutch to me. Schrij, which makes the V sound in English, Ivers. So Shrivers. And Sonia is new at hooking, and she wrote, this is Jane wrote, this is from a very, very new hooker in Belgium. So I'm thinking maybe she's in the southern Dutch speaking part of Belgium. These are her. Okay, so she had two posts that she put up recently. In the first post, Sonia was saying, "I'm very new to this. I'm only discovering this for the first time. My very first." Until a week ago, I had never heard of this technique, and I was immediately interested. Here in Belgium, no one knows this is a hobby in shops, so I looked it up on YouTube. I like it, but I still need a lot of practice. Thank you for your nice videos and ideas. Oh, Sonia, you are doing so well already. So this is the piece that you are starting as a brand new hooker. I am so glad that you found us. We will stick with you and help you throughout, right? And next time I'm in Europe, maybe I can help you in person. You are going to do a great job. I'm so glad that you got going on this. It looks like you drew a beautiful pattern. You've got it in your hoop, and you are killing it. So brand new hooker, great inspiration. You can tell already this is going to be an incredibly lovely piece. Sonia, keep going. This is really, really lovely. Alex, over 60 viewers. That is amazing, Jay. That's fantastic. Dave said, try tucking a lavender sachet in the rug or maybe spray a cloth. Oh, Dave, so you are talking about, I'm going to come back in a second. You're talking about the problem of the problem cat, right? The problem child cat. That's a good idea. Um, tucking a sachet of lavender or lavender oil or put it under the rug. That's an interesting idea. Maybe just like a piece of fabric with lavender oil soaked in or something. It might be enough to keep cats away, but not harm them either. That's a great idea. See how great the tips are on Friday nights when we do our gallery nights, all of our episodes, but particularly on Friday nights, I think we're so helpful. We're so forthcoming with advice for each other. I really love this dynamic. Um, Great idea. I didn't know that one, so I'm going to remember that too. I wish I could cover everything in the house that the cat's already destroyed with lavender oil and then create a time machine to bring back the most beautiful furniture I've ever had that's completely destroyed by animals. I'm going to stop. Melanie says, love that bittersweet border. Is that bittersweet? Is that what that plant was? That was really, really lovely. Really, really lovely. So I'm going to speed up a little bit because I am not going fast enough, as you can see. We might have to, let's see how it goes. Alexandra Pauley, Pauley, sent in this beautiful mermaid in progress. So obviously in progress, right? But hard part is over. That's the good news, right? She says, I'm about to start the background. I believe she's finished. Now for the water, and I hope the water is easier. And, you know, speaking of this sort of dynamic, this friendly vibe that we have going on in our Facebook page, Susan wrote, I was reading the comments on this thread, which I sometimes do, and Susan wrote, she is lovely. She looks like she is meditating. Love her facial expression and her open arms. I hope you will channel your mermaid as you hook the water meditatively with open arms. I love that sentiment. That is so encouraging. That is so beautiful. This is a beautiful piece, Alexandra. Keep going. Let us know how it evolves. But I think the hard part's done. And the detail of her tail with all of those color changes in it, and that hair, that Medusa hair, is so fan. Isn't that amazing?
It's super pretty.
Jacob's joining us. The end of the night. Are you gonna remark on some of these as well?
Yes.
Yes. So this is incredible, isn't it? Good. Good, good, good. I'm not talking to myself anymore. And I can take some sips of beer while you take over, huh?
My goodness, yeah.
All right. So I'm going at a good speed now because I've taken too long. Magical Mermaid, Ryan says. She is super pretty. So Sydney Sylvie, we are so used to seeing Sydney's work, and I've used some of Sydney's work in my first book, which is hopefully coming out now in June. Sydney punches Waldoboro style. So she leaves some of it looped, and she has some of it clipped.
I punch in the Fraser style.
Yeah, you do. You do. So she punches very high for some of it, and then she clips it Waldoboro. So we normally see this technique with rug hooking, but with Sydney Sylvie, we often see it on our Facebook page with punch. And I love seeing it this way. You can see she's using a punch frame. She's working on monk's cloth. Let me show you a close-up of the amount of height that she's got going here. It's just an extraordinary piece. And it is. She says, so I've been trying to use some very thin, slippery yarns. Not easy. They want to pop out, but I put them back in with bulky yarn next to the thin yarns. It's like 4 steps forward, 3 steps back. Does that sound familiar? I feel like that's the formula for my life thus far. But it happens. And the question is, how much pain can you take, right? If it's not working with the silky threads, the slippery threads, then for some people it's like, forget it. Mama doesn't want to play this game anymore. We're all set. But if you have that staying power, and if you, like me, have patience only for crafts and not for any other aspect of life, it seems like Sydney too, you can persevere and get these amazing effects. So fantastic and interesting. I love to see her work pop up on the page. Kelly, this piece is so beautiful. I love religious pieces. He calms the storm. I love when you posted this. I saw the drawing for it, then I saw it in progress. This is a beautiful piece. Kelly designs too. So if you love this piece, make sure that you visit www.kelly.smithdesigns.com. Kelly has so many beautiful designs. Coming up to Easter, this one is just exquisite. I just love this piece. It's available 17 by 14 or 24 by 18 on linen or cotton blend rug warp. So I would recommend the rug warp for punching and linen for hooking. That would be Kelly knows better, right? This is her piece. But this is an absolutely beautiful piece, as are all of her pieces. Just exquisite. Mary Ann Russo, a new member of our group. This is your first project. This is my first punch needle project. Although it's not perfect, I love it. What's next? I'd like to give it to a friend. How can I present this to her? Now, here's a question that I would like us to answer jointly, right? So, Suze, I also loved the gray hair on the mermaid. I absolutely loved that. Whitney said on this thread, leave it in the hoop. Now, we do see that a lot. We do see people leaving a piece that is already inside a hoop in the hoop, and that makes a lot of sense. Do you have a different suggestion for Mary Ann? She is a new member. She has done an extraordinary piece. Do you finish your circular pieces in a different way? The only other thing that I would say that I can think of is to get a piece of felt or synthetic felt, or wool, even patterned wool in a plaid, and just like a picture frame mat that goes on top of the picture, I would be tempted to cut a perfect circle using the hoop as a template and put it over the top to make it into a square, and then maybe sew it down carefully around the edges with hand stitches. That I think would add to the beautiful feel of it. But I would like to kind of put for myself a mat over it in a plaid or a textured wool or a patterned wool of some sort. I just love it. And Cindy says, I frame mine behind glass. Also fantastic. You can have the monk's cloth showing. You can frame it as a circle. You can drop it off at the frame or two. That has potential to be expensive, but really, really Cool. And yeah, it does look like waves, doesn't it, Ryan? I didn't pick up on that. It does look like water in the background. Apple, maybe an apple tree, maybe some apples dropping. Absolutely beautiful. The way that the ground is handled, the way that the tree is handled. It's an extraordinary piece. It is an incredible piece. I absolutely love it. And if you have more ideas, please put them down so we can share. And back to Ann Polizzo. Great ideas. Ann is an unbelievable ideas person, right? And like I said, she just traveled to Florida, so she's bringing her work with her. And this is her way of storing noodles, strips, wool strips, because that can be a nightmare, can't it? This is what she does. She gets this stuff called press and seal. Here's a piece of it laid out. She puts down the snoodle noodles into little packets like that. She puts another piece of press and seal over it. And you can see she even marked what it was for, right? So if there's confusion, like you completely space out and you can't even remember what you were doing when you were packing, that happens, doesn't it? You write it right on there with a Sharpie. And then she rolls them together into these little packets, and she says they fit great into like suitcase pockets, right? How smart is that? Isn't that fantastic? I just love that idea. My mom just said for the circle, the tree, depending on the size, there are round canvases that she can mount over. Mom, that's a great idea. If it fits well, yeah, you can just wrap, you can even staple behind or glue behind right onto the round stretcher, which probably wouldn't be wool, right? It would be some kind of like fiber board or some kind of composite wood. And it would work great that way. That would work really, really well. Great idea. Now, this piece is by, oops. This piece is by Polly Jones, another really striking piece. Very unusual take on the tulip fields of Holland. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I shut it down. This actually made me long for Holland, and that rarely happens. I lived there for so long. And it was lovely, of course, particularly at flower time. But what I love about this is it's a semi-abstract piece with the beautiful flower fields, but then just the one tulip. So we're getting, this is like the flower fields from an airplane. You just see these panels of color, swatches of color. It's like nothing else when you fly over. It's just amazingly beautiful. And then she's got this sort of symbolic or representational single tulip in front of it. I think this works really, really well. What a striking design. A very simple design. It tells the whole story, has an abstract quality to it. It's just a really lovely, very thoughtful piece, Polly. Really, really smart. Dave says, I have used press and seal for crafting. Great product. It really sticks tight. That is great. I have not used it. Judy says, oh, nice. Excellent composition. It is excellent, isn't it? We've got kind of the background flowers, a diagonal northeast to southwest, and the tulip is going a little bit in the opposite way. So while it's not an exact cross composition of the letter X, it does have that feel, doesn't it? It's very, very striking. Melanie says, I don't do round pieces. Even if I get a round pattern, I put a border around it to make a square or a rectangle. Well, that's really helpful also because, I'm going to come right back here. That's another thing that you can do, of course, is box it out so that it is no longer a circle. Why not? That makes a lot of sense. So I'm coming over here now. I'm not sure if this one was sent in or if Jane pulled this. I love this. This is a take on a video game character, right? So this is pixelated, kind of a reinvention of a video game character by Jason Anthony Stanton using punching. And what I love about, I'm going to read what he wrote. And Jane said, looks like a computer game character. For me too, I first thought Mario, but it's not the right costume. So and as much as I am familiar with video game characters, I don't know all of them. Isn't that amazing? My kids have talked my ears off and I still don't know all of them. Jason wrote on our page, and I really appreciate the sentiment and him having written it on our page. He wrote, depression and anxiety often get the best of me. Slowly, I've been integrating punch needle embroidery into my daily routine as a coping mechanism. My mental health continuously beats away at me, saying that I can't get anything done. Not today, depression. I think I'm doing a great job here. This design has a lot of details for a beginner, and I'm managing to think my way through it pretty darn well. Thank you for this group, for teaching me what I know. I hope to make cool stuff for everybody to appreciate. I absolutely love this piece. I love the sentiment. And I wrote on the thread to Jason as well. Preaching to the choir. Everybody has different situations, but I have a huge problem with depression, as most of you know, and I talk about it all the time because I don't want anybody to feel alone. We all have different things. This is also my thing, and I completely feel for you. And it can get the better of you, and it is great to find a coping mechanism. And it's just, I use the same one. It really helps me separate my brain from my hand when I start doing something mechanical. It helps a lot. And I hear this a lot. And it's a great solution. And it's awful to feel that way, but you are not alone. And I'm so glad that you found us and that you found a great way to cope. Let's keep going. Let's keep going together because this is my daily life too. I really love that. So, all right, let's keep going. I have a few more things I want to share. Gosh, there's a lot more I want to share. It's getting late, huh? Okay, let's keep going. Wynn Parkin, also a new buddy, new to rug hooking. And I have a couple of small pieces of Wynn's, Wynne, Parkin, Parkin, just beautiful. No pattern, just winging it from nature. I love this piece. I love the feel. I love the flow. I love the use of white. I love the use of patterned wool, right? Look up into the sky. Lights and darks. The contrast is remarkable here. New rug hooker, but you can't be new to the arts, right? Because this is super well done. I love the curve of the road going in, and I love that purple sort of mountain, right, or crop of a mountain, distant sort of horizon line. I love that bush or rock that's dark on the left. That helps everything. That makes a lot of sense to me. Just these simple lines create the entire landscape, right? It looks like very thick strips here. Really extraordinary. Really extraordinary. I absolutely loved this. It stopped me in my tracks, as did this piece. Very different color palette. Also, Wynn Parkin's piece. Really stunning. Beautiful play of light, bright, kind of like sunset oranges with the blue, opposites on the color wheel, a little bit of purple in there. So good. Silhouette of a tree, right? Looks like there's hanging sort of moss or something hanging from it. It's very evocative. It's got a lot of directional hooking. It's very potent in terms of the color palette. Very successful colors. That horizontal pull of the hooking versus that diagonal upward sweep of the tree is amazing. Suze says of the last one that road reminds you of the road to Manitou Springs, Colorado. Interesting. Karen, I wonder if you know that road too. Ryan says, punch needle has definitely helped with my anxiety. Like Cindy said, crafting is so good to help you relax. I saw that, Cindy. Distracting with craft is a good way to get us out of our own heads. That is absolutely true. Absolutely true. And you know, rug hooking was after World War II, particularly in Britain, used as art therapy for recovering soldiers, and there's a good reason for that. It works. Now, this beautiful piece is done by Robin Elizabeth Dragovich, and this was on our Facebook page. Absolutely amazing oranges in a net pattern, right? It's a work in progress still. Oranges are nearly done. So I saw this happening. This is like the most recent version. I probably should have done this in reverse order. So there are different heights being punched here. So let's look at it one step behind, right? This was the before, so I should have shown this one first. You can see she's punching high and clipping. And she's like, at this point, she wrote, this is quite chaotic. Um, but she clips it down and she's like, a little more in control. This is just progress, right? You have to do A to get to B. But what an unusual, super artistic, richly colored piece. Really, really different. Absolutely love this piece. I noticed that Robin Elizabeth Dragovich, everything that she posts in our Facebook group is really different, very high art, very original. Absolutely worth the look, right? You can always search people's names in the group, and you find things that they've posted in the past. Judy says potent is a good description. Yeah, it is. I know that just popped into my head. It is. I feel I'm not complimenting myself, but thank you. It is that really red piece, that sunsetty piece was really extraordinary. Andrea, this is coming along like a treat. So Andrea is on from England, being naughty and staying up late. You wrote, here are two photos of the old thatch tavern sign for gallery night. I absolutely love it. We started working on the, well, you watched the designing like tavern signs, right? And then you got going on this project that I will love using for the design like book that I'm currently working on. You said in the first picture, I cut out my shapes to see where I could place them, remembering that you said that multiples were a good design feature. I decided on just using 4 trees to represent 4 seasons. Brilliant. And this is all Andrea. This is not me. This is brilliant. I love this. Oh, and you can see the 4 different trees around the old thatch, right? The little road leading up to it. And let's move to this one because you are working on it already. Second image, I was going to add sky and grass, but I realized this would be too overpowering for this piece. So I'm going with the cream background, thinking that a simple tavern sign would have either a light dark background. Absolutely. Then I thought, how about adding a brown border to look like a wooden frame? Yes, yes, absolutely. That makes perfect sense. Absolutely. This is looking fantastic. I Andrea, I love the colors that you got going on here. Um, Oranges in a net bag. Oh, Ryan, that abstract oranges in a net bag. Is that what it is meant to be? Because that is absolutely what it looks like. That is so cool. Um, Andrea, I just love this piece. You doing? First of all, the trees, right? The brown border, great idea. The trees, amazing. Look at the color changes in the trees. Like this is fantastic. I love the autumny tree on the top right. I love the green tree on the bottom left, and I love that pink spring tree on the bottom right. Absolutely beautiful. Is the fourth one going to be like a snowy white tree, I wonder? I love the way the thatch is coming out. Are you doing an Erica Wilson with the needlepoint stitches? Are you doing long stitches, aka crewel, on the top of old thatch? Because it looks like thatch, like a thatched roof on an old Cotswold cottage kind of a thing. It is just beautiful. I love the way that this is coming along. You are really killing it. I'm so curious about those stitches that you've got going. I might have to snap back to this slide. I'm going to keep going for the moment because it is getting late. But this is just riveting, and this is a huge to be continued. I cannot wait to see this finished, and I cannot wait to use it for the book. Um, let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. We should start here. So this piece was on our Facebook page. This is by Chantal Nulnulzeva, which means 007. So that must be like a code kind of a name. But she's posting in our Facebook group, and she's doing really extraordinary work. This is a punch needle piece, and I want to show it to you for a few reasons. It got a lot of comments because it is beautiful. The color blocking, this is a grayscale, so this is a monochromatic piece. Andrea answered that as long stitch on the roof. I thought so. Oops, sorry. Yeah. And long stitch is one of the things that Erica Wilson, the British needlepoint artist that I mentioned earlier in this episode, this is one of the things that she demonstrates often in her videos that you can find on YouTube, right? She has since passed away, but there are videos on YouTube that are just beautiful. Jason, it's Mega Man. Oh, I'm so glad you're there, and thank you for letting us know. I am not familiar with him yet. Is he like a superhero character, not a video game character? I'm so happy for what you wrote. I'm so happy, and I'm so happy that we can talk about this stuff on our page and in our show because it's important, and we all, I think, at least sometimes feel exactly the same way. I really appreciated the candid sentiment that you put there. So Chantal Nulnulzeva, punch needle, different heights, right? And monochromatic but color blocking in a very pop art way, isn't it? I mean, it's so extraordinary. Let's look at some different views of the same piece. So this is a view of it hanging. Do we overthink finishing sometimes? I mean, I'm going to go with yes. This is just on its backing fabric, right? And it's just stitched with a sleeve, with a channel, with a rod going through it. This makes a lot of sense. And not only is the background left bare, right, very modern, but it's not even finished on the edges, and it's looking extraordinary. It's just extraordinary. It's stunning. So think about this as a finishing possibility too. It looks great hanging up on the wall like this. When I saw this, I thought, I'm definitely overthinking it. Chantal Nulnulzeva is just a great, great, great piece. It's just great. Expertly done, because this is not easy. This is something you really need to plan out. I love the height of the nubby sweater, right? Particularly in the season. So beautiful. Thank you, Gaynor. I try my best. I do. I put it all out there. I hope something sticks. And it does, obviously, because we come up with these great nights and everybody coming together like this. I know, Ryan. It's a big shut up, isn't it? She is so talented. It's crazy. Absolutely beautiful. April, this is absolutely beautiful too. So you said, I'm not sure if this is appropriate for gallery night. Absolutely, this is appropriate for gallery night. You bought this at an antique store in New Hampshire probably 20 years ago, and you're wondering if anyone has seen this pattern, as you assume it's a commercial pattern. I also assume it's a commercial pattern. I've also sent some close ups of the area which has sustained the most amount of wear and damage. Any thought on how to repair? Yes. So let's look at it a little bit closer up. Um, I love this piece. I don't know who did this piece. Um, I would also assume it's a commercial pattern. My guess would be, it's only a guess, but my guess would be like an Aunt Lydia pattern. My guess would be an American 1920, 1930s um, sort of unburlap big manufacturer, right? It's a great pattern, but it does have that romantic quality to it. That's what I love about it. It does have that romantic quality that sometimes are not there with the Canadian commercial brands like Rittermere and Garrett Blue Nose, right? It's a little bit more specific. It's a little bit more on the romantic side. That's what for me screams Aunt Lydia, but I'm not sure. It's an extraordinary piece. If anybody knows, please go ahead and put your guess out there. Ryan said Mega Man is an 1880s Sega character. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I missed that. All right. So my son Teddy would know, right? He's very up on the subject of Sega everything. Interesting. I'll have to show him that piece, Jason. And Judy says, I was so focused on the face that it took me a minute to see the beautifully crafted hand. Oh, of Chantal's piece. Absolutely. Yeah, it was all different textures and color blocking happening there. It's just an extraordinary piece. This is really beautiful, April. Let's look at this in a little more detail. Um, so the edge got hurt because it was down on the floor, and that makes a lot of sense. You know, I want to point out it is an older piece. Look at the way that the background is handled. Look at this marble cake, and look at these scrolls. Right? It looks like a much newer piece to me, but the damage is saying that it's got it. Maybe not. I mean, when I look at this, I would think this is like a 1980s piece, to be honest, 1980s, 1990s. But then I look at the damage, and it's clearly on burlap, and I'm thinking, I don't know. I don't know. This one's got me stumped, April. I love the border, too. You see the antique black scalloping in the border? And everything is done with concentric hooking here. So, meaning you're not blocking it out in any way. You are going you are filling in the negative between the flower motif and the scroll and flower border, like ripples on a pond, concentrically, right? Not in lines, not directionally. And yeah, we're seeing some damage, and that does definitely look like burlap, and that is the product of being in a high traffic area where people are walking on the edge of it, and the little loops come out. Um, and the tape is falling off. It's really good colors on the front compared to the back. Definitely burlap. This was taped in the style of the mid 20th century. So this could be a little bit earlier. Maybe this is more like a 1960s piece. Um, Gosh, it's so hard to tell because the color's so vivid and it's so contemporary looking color wise. Also, lots of textured wool, patterned wool in the leaves. It's an extraordinary piece. April, I'm so sorry to say I don't recognize the piece. I will look as soon as time opens up a little bit. I want to show it one more time in case anybody else recognizes the piece. It's a very odd shape. It's a very fat circle, isn't it? It's not an oval. I mean, it is an oval technically, but it's a very fat oval. It's very, very different. This is one I would really like to chase. So let's do a big to be continued on this. I need a little bit of time on this. And on the first one, the first mystery piece, right? Remember at the beginning that Pat Laska sent in. I need a little bit of time. I know with Pat we don't have that much time because it's going into auction, but this is really extraordinary, April, and I really, really love it. This is a big to be continued. Colleen, you sent a beautiful piece that you're working on, Mermaid's Treasures, 15 by 15, and you're working this in a number 6 cut. Colleen is working on this amazing piece that we can expect to see finished by the next gallery night, I'm sure. And I just want to remind you that Colleen has another great shop, Beach Nut Studio. You definitely want to get in, log in, check out all of her designs. A lot of nautical, a lot of beachy, every one of them beautiful, unique, completely you. You definitely have your own style. I absolutely love your style. And I love your colors. I can't touch you color-wise, right? You are just in a league of your own. Beech Nut Studio. Absolutely beautiful. I cannot wait to see this further along, right? It's already obviously remarkable, but I want to show it finished. When it's done, no pressure. Mermaid's Treasures. Absolutely beautiful. Wendy, are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? Seriously? Um, I just go out of my mind when I see Wendy's work. Plastic bags, right? Plastic bags. Again, this is crazy. So Wendy says, "Hi Deanna, I just finished the snow angel hooked with plastic bags." Right? All of the plastic bag work that we've seen in the past is Wendy. Right? This is all her stuff. Incredible. But now it looks more like someone's doing jumping jacks. It doesn't to me at all, Wendy. I don't mean to be argumentative, and because she says suggestions welcomed for ways to improve the snow. I would not touch it. I would not touch it. As soon as I saw it, I knew that it was someone making snow angels. That's how I felt. I would not touch it. I think it's extraordinary, and I want to show you. Let me see. I thought I had one more. No, wait a minute, Ryan. That was you. Hang on. I'm going to stretch this then. I thought I had two in here. Let me stretch it because I want you to see these are actual plastic bags, like that they don't give you in stores anymore, right? You have to find them, or sometimes you can get them online. Wendy, I think you're there. Um, yeah. I mean, I always like to honor like what the question is. How do you think I can? I don't. I think you're there. I think this is absolutely perfect. That is exactly the way that I read it, and I wouldn't touch it at all. I think it's extraordinary. Like all of your work. Wendy, I really hope that you're working on either a book or an article, like for Rug Cooking Magazine, with the plastic bags. We see people work in plastic bags, but I have to say, you are doing it in is such a high art way. And for people who don't just watch the show or are on Facebook or whatever, I hope other people are seeing it because it's extraordinary. It's just extraordinary. Suze agrees. Everybody agrees. Judy agrees. It is a snow angel. Um, so I wouldn't mess with it too much because if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? And I think it ain't broke. So I think you hit a home run again, a crazy home run. This is an extraordinary piece. Ryan, you sent a beautiful piece too. Ryan, I love this piece. I love this piece. So you wrote, Deanna and Friends, this is my first hooked piece as I'm a puncher. And I've entitled it Shack Number One. Love Shack. I love this shack. I exclusively used materials I was gifted in. Oh, are you kidding me? I didn't even read this part. Oh my God. In the 2022 Ribbon Candy Advent Calendar. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. Oh my God. Don't make me cry. Don't make me cry. All I need is one more sip of beer and I'll be there. A mixture of wool strips, wool yarn, t-shirt material, stretch velvet, roving, sari ribbon, flannel, etc. It was fun to chow. You said you wanted to do this, and you have done this. I didn't. This is insane. It was a fun challenge to give myself. You hookers have some patience. As I switched from punching to hooking, it was a learning curve for me, but ultimately I enjoyed the process. Your friend Ryan. Oh, Ryan, I love you. You are my friend. Let's look at some close-ups of this. This is just stunning. All these different materials in it. Crazy. I'm seeing all the bits and pieces. I'm going down memory lane. All of those boxes. For those of you that got the advent calendar, each one was a little bit different, but still basically the same. Like this much sari ribbon, this much flannel, this much this. I'm having a bit of a trip down memory lane and a little anxiety because all of those boxes sitting out on the table all month was like, oh my God. But it was fun to put them together. And Jacob did most of that anyway. So what am I talking about? But come here. You got to see this. You got to see this. Remember when we put together all those advent calendars?
Do I ever? What, the little
Do I
Christmas
ever?
ones?
Yeah. Look at Ryan did a piece that is he only used the materials that were in. Wait, this is a close up. He only used the materials that were in the advent calendar. Look at this. Oh shoot. Did I do that? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh my
Yuck,
God! I
yuck,
still have a
yuck.
million slides. We're gonna have to save some. No, wait a minute. I screwed up again.
Look at piece by piece.
Again. There it is. So he only
Oh,
used
wow.
like the bits and pieces that were in the houses. Isn't that something?
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Look at that window. See how there's different materials in each pane?
Yeah, it almost looks kind of smoky.
It does. And look at the
It's
door.
like my first apartment.
It's such a cool piece, Ryan. You killed it. I'm going to show the close-ups again.
I love the classic sun in the corner.
Absolutely. And it's made with that pretty yellow kind of.
Genuinely, I think that's very sweet.
Yeah, those were the curls, weren't they, Ryan? Those were like the loose curls, like the actual sheep curls. I love the color changes on the house too. It worked out great going between those
Awesome
pinks.
house?
Yeah, it's a shack. This is the
No, I
first
was
time he's
reading
hooked.
Awesome house?
It is awesome. Awesome shack,
Groovy.
Robin, right?
Quite groovy.
This is super cool. Good placement. You good placement of colors, good
Yeah,
striations.
see, doesn't that look like a...
It does. It looks all smoky and oh, it's cool. I love the black outlining too. That was really smart. Ryan, this is a beautiful piece.
Truly.
This is a hard first piece to hook because you challenged yourself with your first hooked piece. What a great idea to use advent calendar fibers. I know, April. Really hard though. Oh my God, Dave said Little Pink Houses, John Cougar Mellencamp. It totally is. Little Pink Houses for you and me.
You couldn't make up his mind. John Cougar. No, John Cougar Mellencamp. No, John Mellencamp.
No, he could make up his mind, could he?
He thought it was a dorky name.
Oh, he used to be so sexy too. That kind of changed. Yeah,
No, he's
Little
not.
Pink House. Well, he was. He definitely was. He probably still is.
He's a little lawbreaker.
All right, stop it. Stop it. All right, so hang on. Robin, I'm going to save your slides. So I was going to end on, I wanted to end on a few things. So, you know what? The things I had, Robin, you posted some pictures that were not project pictures in Facebook today. And I happened to be sitting there to approve them. And it gave me stomach cramps right away because you found such good stuff that I got like super jealous. Super jealous. I am such a baby.
You're a baby too. You're a dork.
I'm a dork. I'm a dork, apparently. No, I got really excited. But since I put them at the end of gallery night, let's use them on Friday morning because we are right at the end of the episode. So I'm going to start Monday's episode. We're going to do some more punching with you on Monday. So you can boob it up as much as you want, but you're going to be sitting here with your punch project. I did find them. I accidentally put them somewhere. So why don't we come in here. Why don't we come back on Monday, starting with Robin's discoveries, right? And we want to talk about those too, because that's like a conversation starter. And
oh, did you talk about these?
Yeah, I showed the holographic
love
stuff.
These.
Yeah, he loves these holographic things, Candace. But they're going to you. Don't worry. Yeah, we made a good video of those, didn't we?
No, they're not. They're mine.
They're going to be fun to hook.
You made a good.
Yeah. Well, you filmed it. I mean, without you filming it, I would.
Takes two to
be
tango,
a picture of the
gal.
carpet.
Two to tango. I can't.
That's it. So we're going to
understand.
start Monday's episode, and we're going to continue on. There was a big request for Jacob to finish punching because you actually took the piece home and you've been punching it, right?
Yeah, slowly.
Yeah.
I keep going this way to
I
get
don't think
myself
it was
in the camera.
slowly. I don't think it was slowly. Well, because you're like.
Well, I yanked out
12'3".
a big piece of it. I was like, this is terrible.
I bet it wasn't. It wasn't.
You know what? I am, just for a conversation,
Yeah.
I am having a hard time, like, relining the squares.
You mean getting
Like,
the edges
once
nice and
you-
sharp?
No, like, once you pull something out because you, like, screw it up or it's not what you want.
Yeah. So you're trying not to punch into the same exact hole, is what you mean?
Yeah, look.
Yeah.
Gata said, hands off. That's mine.
Don't worry, I won't let him.
But maybe I just don't know the technique to pull the.
Why don't you
grid,
save
know
that
what I
part and
mean?
we'll work on it Monday because they probably want to see too how we resolve that problem.
I'll put a
It's
pin
real
in that,
specific.
ladies and gentlemen.
Put a pin in it.
I shall.
Put a something in it. Just kidding. So we're gonna start Monday talking about Robin's finds, right? And the mystery there. If you know anything about those two mystery patterns that I showed in this episode, make sure that you write it or that you send me a message if you're watching this later. Because there's two people who are real curious about those patterns. And then I had something else to show. Karen Ashley sent me some pictures of she watched the folk episode when I was talking about fairground art as folk art, like at amusement parks. And she forwarded me these beautiful Canadians, you already know this, carousel stamps.
Beautiful Canadians. That doesn't narrow it down very well.
Beautiful Canadian stamps.
all
There was a series, they are all beautiful. There's a series of stamps from carousels. You know what I'm talking about if you are Canadian. So, so we're going to do that on Monday, and then we're going to continue the punch episode, the live punch episode. So that will be super fun for us. And we will figure out next week as we go along. But in the meantime, everybody, happy gallery night. All of the work that you sent in was extraordinary. Really, really exquisite. Fantastic work. All these different things, too. The chair, the press and seal, like all of these different things that came up during this episode were just incredible. So we will see. Don't put it on camera. We will see
Put
you.
that in my wallet. that a business card? It's a business. All right.
Sorry.
They're like
Okay,
little
we will have a
raindrops.
great weekend. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, the
Thank you for
raindrop.
your contributions. Thank you for being here. Like, thumbs up. Patreon members, thank you so much for your support. I hope that you enjoyed the free Alice Butler pattern I sent out a few days ago. And we will see you on Monday. If you need me in the meantime, ribboncandyhooking@gmail.com. Bye from Deanna.
Bye from Jacob. Like, comment, and subscribe.
That's it. Have a happy weekend. We will see you on Monday.
Peace
We
and
will
love.
see you on Monday. Punching.